Stop me if you've heard this one before. Marvel Studios has an enormously hot movie featuring a character. So Marvel Comics have decided to capitalize on this newfound significance within the pop culture zeitgeist and all that kind of stuff by killing them off and replacing them with the female version of the hero. Obviously, they did it when the Avengers were awesome and everyone was talking about Avengers movies. The Avengers in comic books were all replaced by like mostly female characters. Once we had the Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness movie, that was the most recent one. The movie comes out. It's actually being pretty successful. There's no Doctor Strange. He's actually dead. And Clea Strange is the new Sorceress Supreme. And now Deadpool and Wolverine is popped off, making all kinds of money, breaking records left and right. And they're going to kill off Deadpool and replace him with a female version of the character, as if we've never seen Girlpool before. You wonder what happens at the meetings where they're like, okay, Tom, we've got this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. Kevin believes that this is going to be very, very successful. It's trending in all the right directions. How are we going to capitalize on this? We should probably kill off Deadpool and replace him with his daughter, because nothing's going to make Deadpool more important. That'll get the character over. And that's what we're doing again. And actually, we got more stupid news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. This is going to be the stupid news special for Marvel Comics and all the worst ideas that they presented over the San Diego Comic-Con weekend. I'm going to have more coverage of Marvel Comics at San Diego Comic-Con because they did announce a lot of stuff. Not much of it sounds really good, but this is the creme de la crap of Marvel's announcements at San Diego Comic-Con, led by killing off Deadpool. Just as Deadpool is making his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with this weekend's Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel Comics has announced some bad news for Wade Wilson. He's being replaced by a younger model, as announced during a closed-door retailers-only panel here at San Diego Comic-Con 2024. Deadpool's younger daughter, Eleanor Ellie Camacho, is going to be taking over the Deadpool name. The change is scheduled to happen in October's Deadpool #7 by Cody Ziegler. You think maybe it's like a bogus headline or someone's like taking the piss out of you. And then you realize it's Marvel Comics. There's a 95% chance that headline's real. And you go click on it. There's a picture. Kind of looks real. And you go read down it. You're like, it's not reading like The Onion right now. Or the Duffel Blog or any of those like fake news sites. This shit probably is real. They're really doing it again. The dumbest idea in the history of Marvel Comics to capitalize on their characters becoming more popular. And they continuously like do this over and over again. I don't get it. But I mean, nobody's reading Deadpool right now because it is written by Cody Ziegler. I understand Marvel Comics going out there and mining places or looking for prospective talent. You know, they do want to have maybe some more humorous books, and Deadpool certainly can be a very humorous book. But they keep going to Rick and Morty and like Robot Chicken for their talent or prospective talent. And they keep coming up with people like Zeb Wells, and in this case, Cody Ziegler, who's also in the writer's room for She-Hulk on Disney+. And they just keep giving him opportunities, and he keeps failing. Nobody talks about his Miles Morales run, and certainly no one talks about his Deadpool run. I read the first issue, and obviously we reviewed it here on the channel with Doc. And then I got halfway through the second issue, and I was like, who am I kidding? It's not important. No one's going to read it, and no one's going to miss it if I don't check this out and I'm not aware of everything that's going on. I'm pretty sure we've already had like Girlpool. Deadpool 2099 is his daughter. You had the Deadpool core with Girlpool and all that kind of stuff. So not even like a new concept. Although they've made so many different things Deadpool, it would be hard to come up with a new concept of a character actually replace Deadpool. But here's the thing. Why would you want to replace Wade Wilson as Deadpool when he's going to have the most popular movie in the entire year? Ryan Reynolds, one of the most affable, likable actors in the world that people genuinely appreciate and follow on social media and all this stuff. All he's doing is pimping Deadpool, and that's all he's been doing for like 4 months straight. How can you not think that this is the time to capitalize on this by making Wade Wilson more important and maybe putting a good writer on it? And I do like Joe Kelly, but that Deadpool and Wolverine book, because they did actually have a Deadpool and Wolverine book, WW3, and it looks amazing because it's got art by Adam Kubert, but it's got some problems. Like, it reads real weird. Not as in like it's a strange concept because it's Deadpool. It's always a strange concept. Like, I don't understand the formatting of what he's trying to accomplish. That's like he forgot how to write or something. So this is obviously the worst offense, actually just killing off Deadpool and replacing him with Ellie. But that's what they're doing because Cebulski and the Legion of Doofuses cannot stop stepping on their own dicks. That's the only way to explain it. So there you go. If you're enjoying Deadpool and Wolverine and it's reignited your fire for Wade Wilson Deadpool, Marvel Comics will extinguish that fire by killing off Deadpool and putting his daughter in the costume. We have worse ideas. Spidey legend Dan Slott is added again with the introduction of an all-new Spider-Girl this October. Debuting in Spider-Boy number 12, Slott created the new spider hero that superstar artist Paco Medina will take through her first on-page adventure. Spider-Girl's mysterious backstory will supersede even Spider-Boy's shocking origin, just as the emergence of Spider-Boy churned the Spider-Verse inside out and fueled fan speculation for months. Spider-Girl has a story to share that will keep readers guessing and make Spider-Man, Spider-Boy, and all the rest question everything. The only thing I'm questioning is, why are we doing this again? How many Spider-Girls have we had? I thought Dan Slott hated Spider-Girl. Wasn't that like part of his Spider-Man run, was like putting the finishing touches on destroying the legacy or legend of Mayday or whatever? Wasn't that Dan Slott? But I guess Spider-Boy, at least initially, was a marginal success and brought him some type of notoriety once again. So now he's got to do Spider-Girl to supersede Spider-Boy in the Spider-Boy comic book. Makes a whole lot of sense. Even though there's another origin story in there for Boy Spider and stuff. There for a minute, I kind of like Spider-Boy. I was like, hey, this is actually something I want to invest in. I don't like Dan Slott personally, but he's not Mark Waid. He's not somebody whose comic book I can't read because he's on it, even though he is certainly a jerk, or at least portrays himself as a jerk on social media. And then it just kind of fell off. And I'm like, well, Spider-Boy is not important enough for me to continue reading this. At this point, I feel bad for Dan Slott. The only thing he can do in modern comic books to stay relevant and have any modicum of success is Spider-Man related projects. So we're going to get Spider-Boy, which already happened. We're going to get Spider-Girl. We'll get Spider-Dog. Then we'll get Spider-Octopus. And then maybe we'll get Spider-Grandpa. And then maybe we'll get Spider-Vampire. And then Dan Slott will then announce his new awesome project, Spider-Robot. And it's just stupid variants of Spider-Man over and over and over again, because the number one issue could be worth $5.18 in 24 months or something like that. It's a good investment. So people go out there, they get the first issue, which is the first appearance, and then they lose interest because it's just another Spider character. And at this point, we've had Spider-Girls, we've had Spider-Boys. It's nothing new whatsoever, and Dan Slott literally cannot do anything else to maintain any type of success. He does Fantastic Four, no one cares. He does Iron Man, no one cares. He does a big event, crossing over Fantastic Four with the Avengers coming out of the pandemic, and it seemed like orders went up or whatever just because people were interested in buying a comic book. But the story sucked and nobody cared. He's like a caricature of himself in the original Spider-Verse, which novel concept certainly is overstayed its welcome by a lot. Now we've got, Venom verse and everything verse and Wolvie verse and Cap verse and, every other kind of verse out there. And he literally cannot do anything else to have any type of success. He's just going to keep creating variants of Spider-Man until the day he dies. And I guess that's his sentence for being such a jerk off and for getting to hone his craft and become better over time instead of just deteriorating, despite comic books literally being the only thing he has in his life that I can even tell. The next terrible news from Marvel Comics. At Marvel Comics' next big thing panel at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, we got an announcement that sounded like a new version of Marvel's Mad Libs. It began as a plug for an all-new upcoming West Coast Avengers series, then turned out to be a Jerry Duggan book that was revealed to feature Iron Man and War Machine teaming up with longtime Avengers villain Ultron. The art available also indicates that we'll have Spider-Woman on that book, because you can't have enough Spider variant characters, as well as Firestar, who's supposed to be like the big breakout X-Men character when Jerry Duggan was writing that X-Men book that nobody cared about. So he's getting her back, and I guess he's getting Iron Man back to team up with War Machine to lead West Coast Avengers, which, you know, I think get your Avengers book straight and awesome and have people really excited about that before you launch West Coast Avengers. And I think Iron Man and War Machine leading West Coast Avengers is a great idea. Who doesn't like Iron Man and fucking Rhodey together? That stuff, it's like peanut butter and jelly. It just works. You know, you could throw a Spider-Woman on there. She deserves to be on West Coast Avengers. And, you know, who cares about Firestar or whatever, unless you really like that Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon or whatever. But Ultron? What is Ultron doing there? Are we really trying to redeem the AI robot that went crazy and tried to destroy the world multiple times over? Man, I think Scott Snyder did a thing where he fixed AI by introducing it to art or something stupid like that. It was worse than the Care Bear stare. And this is Jerry Duggan, who's a far less accomplished writer than Scott Snyder, and he'll fuck it up even worse. But West Coast Avengers, when your Avengers book isn't good, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. West Coast Avengers with Ultron trying to be a good guy makes even less sense. I don't get it. Am I wrong here? You guys tell me. Is this not as dumb as I think it is? Because when I hear the pitch, I think it's stupid. And then when I hear that it's written by Jerry Duggan, I go, oh, it's guaranteed to be stupid. Because unless he's doing like a Conan the Barbarian or some type of savage book, it's not going to be very good. Jerry Duggan, I don't get it. He's not the next big thing. Let's put it that way. He's the next big never will be. Well, I guess he's been the next big never will be for like 20 years now. There you go. I thought that one was really stupid. But this next one is the dumbest idea other than killing off Deadpool and replacing him with a girl. A new TVA limited series was announced at the Marvel Fanfare panel at San Diego Comic-Con 2024. The series will be written by Catherine Blair, centered on Ghost Spider. Blair was also a writer on Disney Plus's Loki. Ghost Spider and other universe displaced heroes join up with the newly revamped TVA in their mission to protect all timelines. And if you look at the cover, it's actually quite perplexing because you see Ghost Spider, but it appears to be Ghost Spider from comic books, not even like Ghost Spider from like Sony movies or whatever. But then you see like Girl Loki and then the big bodyguard police lady and then the one dude that's in there. So there's lots of callbacks to the Loki TV show, but there's also what appears to be maybe like Corsair, but in purple that I don't really get. There's a couple other elements in there. So they're going to be messing with like the Disney Plus MCU timeline and the comic book timeline and stuff like this. I understand like the concept of the TVA and it's supposed to be a big deal right now, but I personally think the multiverse concept and trying to keep it in line is destroying not only the MCU, but Marvel Comics really in general. Like, really, they've already broken the damn thing. Everything they explained about the timeline and how it works, whether it be, you know, in Avengers Endgame or within the Loki television show and stuff like that, they already undid when Captain America went back in time to return the whatever stone, went and hooked up with Peggy Carter and like lived his life out there. According to all the rules, that starts a new timeline, and you never would have arrived there because he would have been there, but in another timeline that wasn't the one that we were experiencing or watching, like in the movie. But I guess it's supposed to be a feel-good moment. Yeah, that's the other character. It's the What If Captain Carter cartoon from Disney Plus. Like, do you really want to be mixing all these things? Like, it's just, unless it's supposed to be funny, but I don't imagine Catherine Blair is funny. Like, she wrote the Loki show, which wasn't funny. Actually wasn't very good. I've only seen season 1 and I didn't like it. There were a couple of high moments, but for the most part, I didn't like it. But I would have zero expectations for this one whatsoever. And it seems completely irrelevant and useless. Like, I don't even know why the comic book exists other than to have something TVA related, because obviously multiverses and anchor characters are a big part of the MCU now. But they should probably just kill all these characters off and replace them and gender swap them all like they're doing with Deadpool. That would be the smartest idea. But Like, I don't get that idea at all. But then again, I don't understand why Spider-Girl exists. I don't understand why they're doing West Coast Avengers with Ultron as a superhero. I don't know why they're doing a TVA book. And I certainly don't get why Marvel are killing off Deadpool. But those are all the worst ideas, at least in my opinion. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Do you think these are bangers? Are these great ideas? Because I don't think any of them work. I think they're all superfluous, waste of time. And if they're not waste of time, they're actually worse in the fact that they're damaging to the potential long-term viability and productiveness of Marvel Comics by killing off the most important, popular superhero in the MCU that just broke all these records in Deadpool. You can't make this stuff up, but it is Cebulski and the Legion of Doofuses doing what they do best, fucking up their own homework. If you like what we're doing over here on Thinking Critical YouTube, we do have some other opportunities with more stuff out there in the form of podcasts. And if you want to support us and allow us to continue on adding a voice of reason and honesty to the comic book industry and basically the entire geek culture, go over there. There's a link in the video description. See if you like what we're selling and help support us and keep this channel going, baby.